righty, welcome back. We're at 119. I cannot wait to get these last two lessons done. It's going to be awesome. Okay, let's look at this. I'm going to show you some different ways to solve these types of problems that like plague students. But I'm going to show you several ways to do it. I'd learn how to do a couple of these ways at least and practice them. You're going to see this again next year and the next year and the next year with Saxon. So it's going to give you several years to get these down. You want to make sure you can get these down pretty well. All right, that said, 30% of the tribe were warriors. There were 150 warriors in all. What was the population of the tribe? Okay, so we can do the drawing, right? We can go like this and go, okay, 30% are warriors. There were 150 warriors. Okay, well, 30% we know is, let's break this up into 10, right? Let's do percent. Boom, and then boom. 30% would be this and this and this, okay? That means there were 150 warriors. They tell you that. So that means each one of these must be 50, right? 50, 50, and 50, correct? What's the population of the entire tribe? Well, obviously, if each one of these is 50, we have 10 50s, so the entire thing is 500. That's one way of doing it, right? This gets to be kind of a pain, having to draw all this stuff over and over all the time. So you want to learn a different way. Here are two different ways to do this. I would write down these steps and make sure you can do those. We'll do them again next year in pre-algebra, but let's just get it right for right now. Okay, the fraction equals fraction away. What you can do is when you get one of these 30% warrior, they're 100, 30, what's going on? How do I do this? Okay, what you can do is on these percent problems is simply draw this. A fraction equals a fraction. Obviously, you're going to need to put in 4 numbers for those 4 blanks, right? Or for something, all right? How can we do this? We just need to make sure it makes sense. We'll talk about that in a second. Well, here, this is the sentence right here, and of course this one too. All right, that's going to be those two sentences you're going to pick those numbers from. Okay, 30% were warriors. There were 150 warriors in all. What was the population? We don't know what's going to be. So usually in algebra, we put something like an N or an X or whatever your favorite letter is, okay? But let's just go ahead and at least 30%, we can write that, right? 30%, let's just write, we could write 30 over 100, but let's make it easier, 3 over 10, okay? Now notice on this, the bigger number is on the bottom, right? In this fraction. What we need to do is we need to go, hey, we got 150 as our other number, and then we have some number we don't know. There will always be something like that. We don't know. Now you tell me, if you have here's your picture. In other words, we've already done this. We kind of cheated, but like here's a big population, right? 30% were warriors, right? And 150 warriors. Well, is the number we're looking? They're wanting to know the population of the whole thing. Is this number here, the whole tribe, is that bigger than 150 or less than 150? Obviously bigger, right? Okay. So to match this, where the bigger number is on the bottom, you want to put the bigger number on the bottom here as well. So, but we don't know what that is though. It's a what? So just stick an X in there, or an N. We'll just put N for number. And the other number must go on the top. And there we go. Now you remember what happens when you have 2 equal fractions, what you can do to solve. You cross multiply, right? Okay, so let's make ourselves an equation. 3 times N is 3N. 10 times 150 is just the same thing as 150. And an extra 0, okay? Now we look at this and we go, we just want to solve for this n, so we're going to divide both sides by 3. So we'll just go 1,500 divided by 3, and of course, I'm sure you know that's 15 divided by 3 with a couple of zeros. That's the second way to do it. Now, just to recap, you have a word problem, right? It has percents and what and this, numbers. You don't worry about it. You just go blank fraction equals blank fraction like this. Your job is to find the 4 numbers. You look at this and you go, 30%, that's an easy one, 3 over 10. Yours might be 70%, 7 over 10, 83%, 83 over 100, whatever. Okay, let's see. 150 is a number. What is a number? Wait, do I put my what up here or do I put it down there? Wait a second. Okay, the what is a bigger number than the 150. And let's see here. The 10 is bigger than 3. I'm going to put, because the 10 is on the bottom, that's the bigger one. I'm going to put the bigger number on the bottom too. I don't know what it is, but I'm going to put it 150. There we go. Okay, and that's it. Third method is this method. This is what your book teaches this lesson. Okay, 30% were warriors, 150 warriors in all. So what you're saying is, like if you wanted to draw a little picture again, there's your 150, right? supposed to be a 0. That's 30%. All right. The question is, 150 is 30% of what? That's the question, right? 150 is 30% of what? Okay, so let's write that. 150 is 30% of what? That's supposed to say what? Okay. We can make this into an equation now. 150, if you remember, is equals 30%. You can just put 0.3, or you could put 3/10. It doesn't matter. Just put 0.3. Of means to multiply. What? We can just put, multiply, and then we put an n. And then we go, okay, well, what we want to do to both sides is we don't want 0.3 times n. We want to divide by this. So we're going to have this equation is 150 divided by 0.3. Now, if you do the division, here it is over here. 0.3 divided into 150. We don't want that point. We just move it over one time. That's a 3. And, of course, we move this over one time, too. 3 into 1,500 is, just like we said before, 500. That's it. You can use any of those methods, but I'd learn that method right there we just did, which is probably that's the toughest. So don't worry about it if you don't get it right away. Okay, let's try another one. 30% of what number is 120? All right, here we go. Okay, I'm going to do these in different colors so you can see this. So 30% of what number is 120? I'm going to go back and do the last one first, just because we just did it a second ago. So let's turn this into an equation, right? 30%, we could just say 3/10 if you wanted to. Of what number? Let's just put, of means to multiply. What number? I don't know what it is. We'll call it x this time. I don't care. It doesn't matter what letter you use. Is equals. And 120, of course, is 120. All right? Now what we're going to need to do is we're going to have to divide both sides by 3/10. All right? Now if you don't like using 3/10, just use 0.3. Okay? But let's just say we're going to divide it by this. Well, our problem now becomes 120 divided by 3/10. Now we know if we divide a fraction, what do we do with it? In other words, we take this like this, I go 120, we multiply by 10 over 3, right? 120 times 10 is 1,200. 12 divided by 3 is 4, so it's just 400. There you go. In other words, 30% of 400 is 120. Yeah, that's sensible. Okay, that's method 1. Here's another method. Use an exciting new color. Boom, there we go. Okay. The other method, if you remember we did, is we went, okay, fraction equals fraction. I just don't even think about it. I just write it. All right. Well, 30%, that gives us two numbers, right? We can just go 3/10. And now we have what number and 120. Now, the confusing thing sometimes is going, yeah, which one of those goes where, We know the bigger number's on the bottom. If you want to draw a little drawing here, 30% of some number is 120. You can go, okay, that's about 30% there. And that equals 120. Now, they want to know what this whole thing is. Well, is this whole thing bigger than 120 or is this smaller than 120? Obviously, it's bigger, right? So look at this. Okay, the bigger number is on the bottom, so let's match it with what we're looking for. We used x last time, we'll use x there. Okay, now we cross multiply, right? Or if it works out, you can do this as well. 3 times what gives you 120? 40, right? So 10 times 40 will give you that. But let's say you didn't figure it out. 3 times x is 3x. 10 times 120 is 1,200. And we do exactly the same thing we do over here, and we get the answer 400 again. That's method 2. Okay. The other method, if you want to sit there and do all these drawings and everything like that, you can do that. Okay. 30% of what number is 120? You know what? Forget that. Let's don't even do it. We'll just work on these two from now on. All right, let's try one more. 16 is 25% of what number? 16 is 25% of what number? You know what? Try to come up with an equation, just like the ones we did on the last 2 slides. Try to come up with it yourself. Just go left to right, boom, straight across, and try to come up with an equation. Pause it and do it right now. Okay, I'm just going to go down. 16 is equals 25%. I don't know. I'll just put 0.25. You know what? The heck with that. I'm putting 1/4. 1/4. Of what number? It means multiply something. I don't know what it is. I'll just call it A this time. Whatever. You know what? I don't like looking at things like that. I'm just going to flip it. You can always flip these if you want to. 1/4 of A equals 16. Okay, so we're going to have to divide by a fourth. That's what we do on both sides. So our problem is 16 divided by 1/4. And of course we know that if we divide by 1/4, that means we multiply by 4/1. 16 times 4 is 64. There's your answer. There you go. Okay. The other method of doing this, which I would definitely know if I were you, is we can just do the fraction equals fraction we did just a minute ago. Fraction equals fraction. Now your job is to find out what four numbers go into there. Okay. Immediately what I would do if I were you is go find the percent and stick it in there. You can do 25 over 100 if you want to, or you can just recognize, oh yeah, it's just 1/4. I would just do 1/4. Okay. Now let's look back at the problem. The question is, we got a 16 left, and we have a what number left? Okay. Which one goes where? Well, 16 is, you can even think that 16 is 25% of some number. Oh, 16 is just a little part of some number. That number is going to be bigger. Okay, which one is bigger here? Oh, the bigger one's on the bottom. That means I'm going to put the bigger number on the bottom right there. I'm going to put 16 up top right there. Good? Okay, now we're going to cross multiply. 1 times A Okay. 4 times 16, well, I'll be darned. Look at there, 64. Same thing. So you can use either one of those methods. I'd get comfortable with both of them if I were you, just to be able to do them. So, okay. All right. Let's take a look at the practice problems. Go ahead and pause it and do as many as you want. I'll do one at a time. Okay. A, the answer is 600. 20% of some number is 120. I'll just do it this way. 20%, I'll just do, I can just do 2 over 10. They can reduce that more. But 20% of what number, that means times some number, is equals 120. There we go. Now, of course, we want to divide by 2/10, which means we're going to take 120 and multiply by 10 over 2. Okay. So 120 times 10 is 1200. Divided by 2, 600. There we go. Okay. I'll use the other method for the next one. You can do it that way or you can do it the other way. It doesn't matter. Okay, pause it and try B. 50% of what number is 30? You probably guessed that one. Okay, let's just do it the method, all right? Fraction equals fraction. Let's try it that way. 50% of what number is 30? Well, 50%, that's 50 over 100. Well, wait a minute. It's even better. Let's do 5 over 10. Well, wait a minute. It's even better. 1 over 2. That's the other one. Okay. So let's think about it. 50% of some number is 30. So 30 is only half of some number. So we're looking for a bigger number. Well, the bigger number is here. So the number we're looking for, we'll just call it B, is on the bottom as well. And we'll put the 30 on top. In other words, all we're doing in this fraction equals fraction is we're finding places for fourths things to go. One on top of 2 fractions, one on bottom of 2 fractions. Okay. All right. So let's cross multiply. 1 times B is B. That's going to equal 30 times 2, which will be 60. Boom. There you go. Okay. Pause it and try C. Okie doke. Let's try C then. The answer is 48. Let's do it. 25% of what number is 12? Let's just do the top one. 25%, let's just go 1/4, of what number, we can call this C, I don't care what letter you use, is 12. I'll stop right there. That makes sense? 25% of, I didn't put the multiplication, but it's there. I put a little dot there, okay? Some number is 12. There you go. Now we're going to have to divide by 1/4 on both sides. Now remember, you don't have to take all these extra steps. Just go 12 divided by 1/4 is the same thing as 12 times 4 over 1, which is 48. There we go. Okay. All right, pause it and now try D. Okay, answer to D is 200. Let's look at it. 20 is 10% of what number? Let's just do the, we'll do the fraction bar. Okay, so here we go. 20 is 10% of what number? Well, 10%, we can just do 10 over 100. Of course, you could just do 1 over 10, but let's just pretend like you didn't think about that. All right, 20 is 10% of some number. Okay, we know we've got a 20 and we've got a some number. And where do we put them? Well, the number we're looking for, if 20 is just 10% of some number, that means the number we're looking for is giant. Okay, more than 20. So to match that, we know the number has to be like this, and the 20 has to be up here. So it's cross multiply. 10 times x, of course, is 10x. That's going to equal 20 times 100, 20, and then times 10 times 100. Boom. All right. Now we can just divide 2,000 by 10. And of course, it gives us 200. There you go. Okay. All right. Pause it and try E. Okay. E, 12. All right. Let's look at it. 12 is 100% of what number? Duh. I mean, come on. You know, it's not that big of a deal. Okay. We'll skip that one. All right. Let's go to F. Pause it and try F. Okay, 15 is 15% of what number? Of course, the answer is 100. Let's just do it as if we didn't understand it. 15 is 15% of what number? Well, let's do the fraction. You know, we just did that. 15 is 15%, let's just call it 0.15, of what number? Of means to multiply. We'll just, by, we'll call the number n, okay? I don't like looking at that stuff with the n on the right, or the variable on the variable on the right. So let's go 0.15n equals 15. I just flipped it. That's okay to do that. All right. Well, we have to divide 15 by 0.15. Well, fine. Well, 15. Let's see. 0.15 into 15. Well, we're just going to have to move this over twice, right, to make it a 15, and then move this over twice to make it 1500. Well, 15 into 1500 is obviously 100, right? There we go. Okay. Do your, warm-up problems. Make sure you're getting those down really well. Do a good job of this today. Go back and look at the methods. If it's slow at first, don't worry about it. You're going to have 3 more years to do this, okay? All right. See you guys next time. Last lesson coming up.